All right, welcome. Technically speaking, it's the last thing before we're done with the unit, Unit 4. This is rational versus irrational numbers. I'm going to try to do this one way here, and hopefully you'll get it. If not, we're going to work some in class just in case to make sure. So instead of talking about what a rational number is, because there's many, many more rational numbers than irrational. Irrational, they don't come around a whole lot. So let's talk about what is an irrational number, okay? Now, an irrational number, there's two things that you need to remember. The first thing is, they're numbers that you can't represent by a fraction. So 1 over 3 is rational because I can represent this number by a fraction. 7 is rational because I could represent that by a fraction, right? 7 over 1. Okay. Let's see. 2/4 is rational because I can represent that number by a fraction. Okay, let's go to the second part of this. They are decimals that never ever repeat or terminate, ever. So for instance, if I just came up with a number that's 1.25, that is a rational number because it stops, it terminates, right? It terminates like a Terminator, done. It doesn't go on any further, okay? It was a terrible Arnold Schwarzenegger, but I'm sorry. Trying to get this in your head for sure. So let's talk about what an example of an irrational number is. Pi is the best known one because above my door in the classroom, you know that there's this big poster. It's not really that big, but it goes to the 1500th digit of pi. It never repeats and it never terminates. It goes on forever and it never repeats. So it goes like 3.14, blah, 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 blah. That is an irrational number because I cannot represent this by a fraction. Don't do this. That is not a fraction. That doesn't work. Okay, it doesn't work like that. It only works with rational numbers. This is an irrational number. It's the one you should always remember because it's weird. It goes on forever and never ends. Another irrational number is the square root of 2. If you were to put that in your calculator, you would get 1.41 and a whole bunch of numbers that never ever repeat. Like you wouldn't get 1.414141. That's a repeating decimal. That is rational. An irrational number is a number that goes on forever as a decimal and never repeats. Now the question is on your fever, I think, what one of the 3 columns of your cheat sheet are those numbers irrational? Well, remember how we talked about the numbers that when we simplified we couldn't get any further with? Like root 2, root 3, root 6, root 7. Those numbers are irrational. If you're ever not sure about what a number is rational or irrational, put the questioned number in your calculator. And if the calculator gives you a whole slew of numbers that don't repeat until the end of it, because obviously the calculator is not that big, like the viewing screen's like this big only, so it would stop after a point. But if it goes all the way to the end of the viewing screen and the numbers never repeat, it's a likely bet that it is an irrational number. All of these numbers are irrational. I can't go any further. If I'm not mistaken, root 10 is also irrational. Root 8 is irrational, okay? 2 root 2 is irrational. These are just a bunch of them to start. Like I said, there are many more rational numbers than irrational. But what you have to be able to pick out is which ones are irrational. And it's these 2 bullet points for sure. Numbers that can't be represented by a fraction. So if you can write a fraction of the number, it's rational. And then decimals that never repeat or terminate. Now, there was only one question on your fever because you can't really do a whole lot with this, at least not at this point. So circle the irrational numbers. So the irrational numbers on your fever form, and you should be able to get these just by watching this video. Root 2 is irrational. Root 6 is irrational. Now, this one's tricky. 4.539857. And the dots behind it, the little dots that I put there means that this is going to go on forever without a repeating number. So this number is irrational. I just made that number up. And then pi, obviously, is the one you should always remember. Okay? We'll talk more about this in class. I saved this for the end because it's just a weird kind of thing. It's a weird concept. But hopefully you understand these 2 bullet points, and you need to know at least, 4 or 5 examples. We've already done at least 4 or 5 examples today, so hopefully that'll work out for you. All right? This is the last video of the unit. So, well, it's the last new thing for the unit. So start watching the videos again. I'll make a couple of videos for you so you can study for the test, I guess, kind of. We'll see how it goes. It really wasn't a hard unit. Anyway, all right. Adios. See you later. Watch the videos. Bye-bye. Bye-bye.